Let's talk about that. I mean,
Where are the diplomats?
this is the thing. There is a. It's almost like there's a suicidal desire from the Western world,
Yeah,
and it's almost like they want to kill the essence of what it is that they've worked so hard, or the forefathers worked so hard to put together, from the UN to all these big organizations that were supposed to be forces to alleviate pressure, to avoid tensions, to avoid conflicts. Now becoming, you got the secretary of the UN, prompting people to get
belligerent.
armed. This belligerent, like, literally, co-signing shit that shouldn't be co-signed. And when you have all this, like, antagonism, and you can't speak your truth, or not even the truth, but you can't even debate in a
Yeah,
healthy way, sharing just opposite opinions without having to be enemies. This is so sad, man. There's no more room
nuance.
for nuance at all.
I think that the Western world has been invaded, infected by two things. The first is the virtue signaling of everything. Like, you can't criticize anything anymore, and you cannot disagree with anything anymore without being treated anything that ends with ist or
Oh, yeah.
fob, phobe. Like,
Yeah.
people have been victimizing themselves to a point where it kind of not makes sense anymore. Like, you talk to anybody, any group, they've been taught to just be victims. And on the other side, all these organizations have also been invaded by huge corporations that
Yeah.
are taking over the world.
100%.
Like, we are arriving to this dystopian world where huge companies dictate how we have to think, because they also own the places where we talk. We are on the platform that is owned by a huge company, and this huge company also can decide that the thing we're talking about, they don't like it, or somebody that works there doesn't like it, and they just remove incentive by removing monetization, or they just remove you from the conversation by canceling you, because enough people feeling victimized by stuff that we say as if it hurts them for real will just tweet about it, and then after that they can just deplatform you, and the
Man, I
people
mean,
who disagree with you
look
think
at
they
what.
have a right to have you deplatform, and it's a victory. I mean, we're talking about people who fought for freedom of speech, who hate the idea of other people
Having the freedom to speak.
having the freedom to speak something different than what they
Yeah.
think. And
Yeah.
now we have the people who are taking the decisions who have not been elected. I'm a French elector, and I voted for a government, and I voted for somebody to represent me in the circumscription of Portugal where I live. I voted for these people to represent my voice, and because whatever is their program, that's what I believe in. And those people have no power because of people who are representing federal power, people who are not elected and who are in the hands of huge companies. And
Yeah.
it's complicated because the more, I would say this 5 years ago, I would be treated as a conspiracist. But it is clear, we can see it. We see the things moving on. We see the groups of media being bought by huge conglomerates. And
Yeah.
it is, and so Europe should be the third voice. I mean, we have blocks, right? We have a huge block which is called the United States of America. 54 states that are speaking from one voice. uh, because they elect the federal head of state. We have China, we have Russia and India, Africa that has no voice, and Europe that is supposed to be a bunch of countries, 28.
Okay, your sound is breaking up a bit.
Watching me.
Oh, okay. Bruno says it sounds good now, but it was
Bruno
like
is always looking for problems. These guys, these guys. Hi, Bruno. So, you have these people who are supposed to. We decided to be all together as countries, but not to remove our choice as different countries to decide if we agree or we disagree with certain decisions.
Yeah.
And up there, they're supposed to all go and decide together. But now the people who are at the head of the European Union, they just take decisions. And
also the media, the journalists are all partisan. They're all activists.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what is very interesting? I was very surprised to see, like, you know, guys like, you know, leaders like the President Macron literally telling his ambassadors to become you know, influencers, pretty much, you know, and acting as influencers and sort of like reporting, like even them, like the way he was, even like, look at, for example, you know, you may or may not know like you know, the Queen of England, you know, and for valid reasons certainly, but you know, this is a woman that had a family with kids, etc. People that love her, she loves people, but what you don't have to like her. Cool.
Yeah.
We respect at least the memory of this lady who's died. And yes, you can say it's not your queen. You can say all this shit. Great. But then you have leaders like Macron. Wait, man. Like, you know, it's you know, it is weird to me. And then you have guys like President Macron who's coming with Snickers. I mean, how far are you pushing trivialization of such a moment of paying homage and honor? Like, you have a guy like David Beckham who might be doing that as a publicity stunt, maybe, but he waited, I think 7 hours in the queue.
He had dignity.
He had dignity, like, yo, dressed up, you know, proper, like,
yeah,
you don't, you know, you and beyond anything, like, when I see certain people at certain funerals, the way they dress up, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck do you think you were coming to? Some sort of like, you know, pillow fight parties or some shit? Have some decency, have some respect for the person who just died. Like, oh, well, they're not saying the way you dressed. It's not about that. It's decency, it's paying homage to the dead, to the person, and sending them off. Because we as humans, we love to judge, but we forget that, you know, the actions that we take now, and the action of judging somebody will be taken against us at some point, some way, shape, or form, at the level of our realities, you know. And the funny thing, and that's what you call karma, right? But then when karma hits your fucking face with a slap, you don't see that. You're like, oh my God, everybody's against me. No, it's not. You know, it's like, you know, exactly as you said, you know, brother Lehlohonolu Makoti. Yes.
I would just
on LinkedIn,
brother Mac.
You know, brother Makoti. Yeah. You know, that's what it is. You know, just respect. You know, and all I'm saying is this: yes, you can claim all the shit you're claiming, and you have the right to actually spread, you know, truthful information about what has happened and some of the dirty jobs these people have done. Great. You know,
it can wait 10 days.
It can wait fucking 10 days, man.
10 days. You can, like, you have to. All these people are here to mourn. You have to come with your little not my queen. Like, shut the fuck up for 10 days. Let the people mourn, then go back. Now, because we have a whole generation of narcissists who think that everything is about me, how I feel, and we have media, politicians who are not able to tell people, hey, what you feel is how you feel. seeing you, I'm not here. But the real life is the real life. And no, you're not a little flower. You know this. This is not the land of the business. And yeah, it's not your queen. I don't care. Let them finish their thing. Then we'll talk about slavery, colonialism, all the shit, all the money that do like. Okay, but have some respect for what these countries going through, and let them decide.
But beyond the
But
country, man, I think the family, like,
yeah,
you
and the
know,
family, respect
and,
his family. Like,
and that's the thing. It's like, and in that sense, bro, I mean, this is where you also see the very weird bias of medias, and
yeah.
it's just peculiar. I mean, not to
Now,
cut
media
corners, but
belongs in France, for example. All the media,
mm,
journal, TVs, everything belong to 4 companies. So how you think you're gonna have independent people when an order can come from up there and
yeah.
just bzz, fire you? How are you like an independent voice when strangers on Twitter can make you lose your job? Like, nobodies, a bunch of nobodies on Twitter. That's very disrespectful what I say.
A
But a
bunch of
bunch of
so-called, but a bunch of so-called specialists. I mean, some people have
yeah,
studied
exactly. A
20,
bunch
30
of
years,
weird-
and you with your 10 minutes knowledge, you think you can, supposedly,
I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
undo their knowledge by
Yeah.
saying that, well, the numbers are like, what do you know? You don't even know your left from your right. Like, what do you know?
Do you remember when I did a video on African clothing, African patterns? When I told all these people, well, all these have been invented in Holland. Vliesco, your great brand, is actually Vlieskengen from Holland. And all these designs that you talk about that are iconic have been designed in Holland by Dutch people. Hudson, people's head were exploding. Like, no! I say, yeah, there you go with your. Now go tell people that when they do braids, they are appropriating culture and stuff when what you wear has not been made by you.
No, I understand what you're saying, but it is, but I also understand the counterpoint to that, which is, yes, you're right. It probably has been, like most things, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to all the major breakthroughs in history, whether, for example, if you talk about fashion, for example, the patterns of the way the man and the woman in Africa, centuries ago, were, combing their hair, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The way they were drawing things, those were inspiration to a lot of the things that we've seen being taken by the Western world, because for some reason, either, well, some would say because they were probably more business minded, or because for us as African, if you look even now, right, there's a sense of generosity in Africa. If you go to a village, you have no place to stay. Technically, you have no food. A villager will welcome you in his family's house, give you his bed, and they will sleep on the floor. Doesn't matter your skin color, but as a stranger, they will welcome you.
What I'm saying,
that is in that mentality. No, not to cut you, but just to add, it's just that I understand your point, but then I also understand why some of the, for example, when it comes to Pan-Africanism and historians of the African continent, true historians, not bullshitters and people who so-called African lovers, this and that. No. Because a lot of people really discovered they were African after watching fucking Black Panther. So let's not even start with that thing.
By Disney.
Here you go. Oh, did you see the scandal about the new movie with the lady, woman Panther, the new movie that's coming out, that it was written by this white,
Woman King with a
Woman King. Yes. That it was written by a white woman. That the movie was written by a white. Mais oui. Tu n'as pas vu le scandale qui est en train d'arriver là? Oh my God! Will our people ever wake up? Like, but this is the thing. Like, So
story.
this the thing.
thing-
So, man, go
Out
ahead.
of-
I'm listening.
You have to ask yourself the question: what do we want? Do we want to live with ourselves in an island, or we want to be part of the world? When you are part of the world, things are going to be extreme. Our own music, my music, when people tell me what is the inspiration from your music, I tell, well, listen, Europop from the 80s, old R&B, hip hop, Congolese music, West Indian music, Cape Verdean music, compa, Angolan music, Congolese music, etc., etc., a little bit of Cuban music, because I grew up listening to everything. So my culture, because I traveled a lot in my life, my culture is just a mix of everything. How am I gonna go and I understand that at a point you have to also fight inequalities. But there's a point where you pass that thing and now you become what you've been fighting. Because now the fact that a white woman wrote the script or whatever is the script good? Entertainment at a point, right?
I mean, everybody who saw the advertisement of the movie were like, "Oh my God, this is." But now the moment you find out, oh shit. But is it good or not? That's the question. Now they're gonna find this thing,
and of course, you can learn. Well, sometimes the question is this: is this based on a true story? Hasn't been invented? Is the person who maybe if it's based on true history, is the person look at the facts right? Did she respect that, etc.? What is the, like, I think people are asking way too much from entertainment, and they are worsening the experience for a lot of people. I was watching SheHulk, and actually I watched one episode. I was like, yeah, it's okay. And then I went to watch some commentary, and everybody was yelling about the fact that, y'all, again, when it's a woman, she's fast too fast, blah, 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 blah. How come she knows everything that took 10 years to do? She knows it in 1 second. Everybody was going crazy about that. And because of that, I didn't watch the rest. Because I was like, yeah, it's true. I didn't think about that watching it. But in reality, I didn't think about all that before you guys polluted me with that.
Yeah.
So 4 nights ago, I don't remember, I called you after that. I just played one episode, number 2, and I watched from number 2 to number 6, and I had a great time. It was not the series of the century, but actually it was cool to watch if you're not polluted with all the culture, gender,
all these
right now. It's
political.
polluting everybody, actually.
Yeah.
The people who really care about that are doing a horrible job of or just putting people against each other for whatever agenda they have. And this is the problem with the world everywhere. People, it feels that somewhere, and we have to start looking into that. It feels like people might have an interest in everybody divided because maybe they make more money from that.
No, I mean, drama makes more money than anything, right? Drama
makes money.
I mean, did you notice? I don't know if you noticed if you post dumb shit. Huh?
We have to start asking ourselves, like, do we want to be surrounded by the drama, or we want to start looking at the algorithms and controlling what we click on and what we click on, so that we are less stressed after watching something in our time of rest, when you're supposed to just watch something, enjoy, and continue your life. All of a sudden, people want you to have this time to be pissed about something, and then you just become stressed out. So at the end of the day, instead of being like, watch a good series, had a good massage, and go to bed, no, you're stressed out. You start the next day angry about something, and then next time you watch anything, you can't see something without thinking of all the cultural wars that are going on, and sometimes you're not even concerned by those things, and now, like, all these people are trying to have you be pissed about something or pissed about someone. Listen, I've been thinking a lot about a couple that I met in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
The girlfriend was Russian,
Mm-hmm.
and the boyfriend was Ukrainian, and
they're still alive, right? So she is still.
I have no idea. I don't.
You don't know. Oh,
I don't know.
Hopefully they're still good.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Olga if they still are. So the boyfriend Ukrainian and the girlfriend from Russia.
Mm-hmm.
They were going back and forth between Kharkiv and St. Petersburg, where the girlfriend comes from, and they both family knew each other. Actually, the boyfriend had some, old Russian ancestors, etc. So when I was talking to them at that time, just before my show in 2018, I was asking them, so finally you guys are enemies in the end. So no, listen, there's a lot of debate and stuff, but we are brothers. The country's a thing, and listen, we love. That's what matters. We love Kizomba and etc. And I've been thinking about them lately, asking myself, wow, because the person who introduced me to them, he went to fight. I talked to him when the war started, and he was on his way to fight. So I have to send him a message, or his wife a message, asking, "Hey, are you fine?" I was watching my vlog in Ukraine, and I was like, "Oh, I hope they're fine." I feel for this couple. How do they process that when the whole world is now telling you that you have to hate your neighbor? And listen, they invading your country.
For me, that's the part that is the most fucked up. Is that Russia, the Russian phobia that has been birthed and openly advocated for by leaders, and then they say no. I mean, did you know? I don't know. Was it you? I know it was you. So you told me the story about the Russian guy that wanted to open a store in Belgium. He had everything. I mean, and they didn't want to give him the. I mean, same story to very much to the one you're talking about, Kizomba and this festival. So there's this lady, and I was telling me that basically they were. She has befriended one of the organizers of one of these big festivals, Kizomba festivals, back in the days before this whole thing happened, the war in Ukraine, and the organizer of the event, that person is Russian, the organizer is Ukrainian, and they were meeting someplace where there's one of these Kizomba festivals going on, and it was like warm and hugs, and this time around, or earlier this year. Same person, different festival, and that person said, if it was up to me, I'd have all of you killed, and I would never let you in. How do you even manage to, leave Russia and come to Europe? Like you should, you know what I mean? And that's how much hate people have been fed, and believe that to be now the new norm. It's so fucked up that people who are Russian, just because you're Russian, you have to hide your identity like that. Like right now in Portugal, like anywhere in Europe, we obviously, you and I, we know a lot of Russians, Ukrainians. No matter, I know a couple of Russians.
I don't know.
You better not say that you know any. I know a couple of Russians, right?
I don't have a kid with one.
Exactly.
I don't have a daughter that is a fourth Russian. Imagine.
And so and by what we're saying, people say, "Oh my God, you guys are pro Russians." No, we're pro fucking justice. Like you can't blame a conflict that is heads of states against heads of states, governments against governments, on the people of these countries. And of course, they're gonna. If they're fed in no fucking propaganda, they're going to believe the propaganda. But the truth of the matter is that, look, these Russians' friends, some of them have the double nationality. They are told, if you come, for example, to Portugal, you want to live in Portugal, don't mention that you're Russian, that you have a double passport. Try to hide it and avoid that information as much as possible, because They will close doors.
Yeah,
It was
because
with you that
Europe.
we were talking. It was this guy that has real estate in Lisbon, and this one lady can't sell her real estate because she's
Yeah, yeah,
Russian.
yeah, yeah. That's
I
crazy.
mean, come on, bro. Like,
And maybe she
as
has to
Europe
be there for
becomes
10 years.
such a xenophobic territory,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's just weird to
it's
me.
and it comes from people who are up there in the European Parliament and are proven to be failed in their countries and corrupt.
Exactly.
But
And suppose I can't remember which journalists say that the first of all they say that the UN seems to be, but again, alleged they so obviously there's no, but according to what's being seen, the bias, the double standards that is being pushed absolutely blatantly. It is now the European Union, the NATO, the UN, the most corrupt as far as the ideology is concerned organizations. Where specifically, if you look at the UN, I mean, I don't know if you watched some of the discourses that happened during this 77th session of the UN with uniting, I mean, regrouping all the world leaders. Man, I've seen some of the most charismatic, emblematic, historical speeches done and given by African leaders, especially for me the most amazing one was the man the prime minister of Mali, Abdoulaye Maïga, who's a military and who just dropped bombs after bombs and literally bringing truth. Like, I mean, yes, okay, you might say, well, it's biased, but let's be a bit honest. Like, there's so much truth to what this guy brought, and I think anybody who has a little bit of intellectual integrity and just honesty and say, look, you're right. There's a lot of things that can be reviewed in the way things function nowadays. For example, in the way the African continent has been considered. Do you know that if you look at Macky Sall's intervention, I was so disappointed at at even the tone and his demeanor when he was talking. He was talking. I mean, you are one of the biggest leaders on the African continent, and you're almost asking permission for Africa to have a place and a say, at the Council of the World, the world leading forces. To this day, we don't have an active, voice at the UN. We are still babysitted. I mean, we are one of the biggest continent. We have the most youth. Did you see? Was you we were talking about that by 2050, 1 in 6 human in the world will be African or of African origin or something like that.
I didn't see that one. But listen, this, when you understand geopolitics and you learn to watch, to go a little bit over the subject, right? And you watch, you take a little bit of hauteur, you go higher a little bit, you try to not just watch what is happening, but you go a little higher, so you watch what is happening plus this, you go a little higher and you watch a little more, etc. Then you